Welcome to the CFG Game Cast, episode number 178, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers who like to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode every week and release it on podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and so much more. So show us some love, do us a favor, and give us a like on Facebook, and subscribe on YouTube, or follow on Twitch, or go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, Davies Green, and with me today are my awesome co-host, Lex, in the second seat. What is going on, my cyborg?
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I've been working on doing my bots for over on Kick, so that I can kind of maybe stream over there a couple days a week.
Have you done that? Have you tried streaming on Kick at all?
No, I can, but I need to create like an OBS file of like my current and like double it so that I have a Kick version and a Twitch version. But I use Streamlabs chatbot, but it's like its own separate program. So it doesn't run through my OBS or anything. And transferring all those sound effects is a lot. And I use Triggerfire for Twitch, but you can't use Triggerfire for Kick yet. And so I'm trying to find an alternative where I could use my Triggerfire screens, but on Kick, essentially, if that makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
Is it called Blurb? Is that what
no,
you're thinking?
StreamerBot. Why don't you use StreamerBot and then just have your sound effects local on your computers, and then they can pull from your computer instead of a website. That should work, right?
That's technically what my Streamlabs bot does. But I'm working on it. I'm doing a lot of research. I feel like I'm like going down the Twitch hole again, but now it's with Kick, so I'm having to watch all these like YouTube videos on how to.
Yeah.
But I can't find a version of the trigger fires because they're not sound effects, they're like actual visuals that pop up, and so that's kind of the issue I'm running into right now. But I did game a lot this week. I played Outlast Trials. I wasn't streaming when I played it, but I was on Discord. I was not feeling good. We had thunderstorms all week, and fun fact, as Davis calls me a cyborg, I am a robot, and it felt like the metal plate on the back of my head was just going to shoot off and like hit the wall like a shotgun. And then yesterday I had a low pressure headache, which means I had no fluid in my brain. So every movement I made felt like I was smashing my head into the wall. It was awful. So I essentially every weekend have been spending it in bed until I have to be here for podcast. But I am feeling better today. But we played Outlast Trials. We played the new Labyrinthine update, which was fun. There's a new bad guy who played Demonologist. There was an update on that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the week prior, Forsake, which Smitty likes to call Forsaken, which is not correct. There was an update on that, and there was a new killer. So we've been having a lot of fun. I've been playing a lot of group games, played a little bit of Have a Nice Death Day, and yeah. I got down on some of the it wasn't pew pew necessarily. It was more like smacking people with my scythe, but it was a lot of fun.
I was going to ask you, what do you think about this DLC content of Nicolas Cage being in Dead by Daylight?
I don't have it, and there are a lot of new updates to Dead by Daylight, and I promised one of my mods I would play it this week and then totally forgot, and she didn't say anything. So I feel bad. Nightmare. We'll play DBD soon, I promise. I think it's hysterical. I love Nick Cage. Every time he's in a new movie, Dustin and I are like, he better Nick Cage it or else we're out.
What does that even mean?
Nick Cage just Nick Cage's every movie. Like it's very much him, but as a different persona, which I think is interesting. But it's still very much him as a human being. And we watched the one with him and Pedro Pascal, which was hysterical if you've not watched it. But yeah, there's a few Nick Cage movies out that we really, really want to watch. But I am probably going to buy that DLC. I usually don't when it comes to Dead by Daylight. But he might be on my list because I can't wait to see what little phrases he says.
That is so ridiculously crazy. I mean, well, like the whole thing is insane. Just even for me, when I saw, I was like, do they usually have like characters as like the people, like the people that you can play as, to be running against the monsters. Like, do they actually have special do they do like special guest stars on that? And then rather than having special monsters, because this seems like that might be the first time, right, for them to do that.
I don't know if and somebody correct me in chat if I'm wrong. I don't believe that he comes with his own killer, because normally when you purchase a DLC it comes with a killer and then whatever, like for instance, if you were to get the shape, right, it would come with Lori. But I don't know if Nick Cage comes with a killer or if he's just a separate little tidbit. But yeah, usually they come with their own character, and I don't think the clown did. Maybe I'm wrong on that. The clown, I don't believe he did. Ghostface, I don't believe he came with people, but usually for like the bigger things where it's Resident Evil, it comes with its own survivors with the killer, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
Yeah,
but this is the first
sense.
time. But this is the first time that they just had a Survivor DLC without. I mean, that was this one specifically just for the Survivor.
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because I mean, DVD's been around for years, so
yeah.
at this point,
I'd have to Google at this and find out. But
yeah, don't take your word for it, but you're pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. As I ask you what you've been up to, I will Google and find out for you. How about that?
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Yeah, I've been going good. It's been going good. I've just been busy as always. Finished Star Wars. Still kind of mad about it. You know what? It's kind of funny. Like I don't know if I would consider this game to be game of the year, but I would say that it would definitely be on one of my one of the most disappointing games because of the stupid glitch that's not making me enjoy the full game. So it kind of frustrates me. You know, it really frustrates me. Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
You know what's funny? It's not even about the platinum. It's more like it's the accessibility that really gets to me. Like, for instance, like I love the Pokemon Scarlet and stuff. Great game, but then you got to see how bad that game was. Like, you know, like with the drop frames and all the crazy glitches in that too. You got to own up to that with the good on it. This is the same thing for Star Wars, from my opinion. Like, Jedi Survivor was good. It's a fun game, but the glitches in some of these games, and let alone a glitch that's been in this game for longer than a month that they still haven't fixed, is just, oh my god, it is frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating, but especially since I like side stories and stuff. But I did finish it, so I'm ready to move to Final Fantasy 16 this week. Comes out this week, and so I'm just waiting. Been playing some Street Fighter 6 while I've been waiting for it.
Now, I did see on Twitter, and I meant to send it to you. I will after we get done. There is you can apply for a free key if you meet the requirements for the key on Final Fantasy 16. So they'll just give you the key. And because of, your background, you should qualify. So I'll send that to you. But yes, I cannot find a distinct answer on whether Nick Cage comes with a killer. But Scyther asked, who do I think Nick Cage would pair well? I think he would pair well with the clown, and I think he would pair well with Mike Myers and the Ghostface. I'd probably say he'd pair best with Mike Myers. I bet his commentary would be hysterical with Mike Myers. Or AKA the Shape. I'm sorry. It's not Mike Myers. It's the Shape.
Oh, really? So
they can't use his name.
Do you know what's funny? Okay, so I have Dead by Daylight. I know I've tried to play it with you multiple times, but every time it's like I either don't have it installed or I just didn't want to do it. I still have not played that game.
It's so good.
To this day.
It's good. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, I know. You know what? I think I would if you ever play it again, I think I'll try playing it. But the one thing that has to be is that Dust cannot be a killer, because Dust would kill us all.
Yeah, or Sophie Waffles. It's game over. But at least he gives you chances to get away to go get people off hook. So it's
Yes.
kind of like he just toys with us the whole time. But yeah, I don't know if Dust has ever played Dead by Daylight, now that I
No,
think of it.
I don't think
But he
I
would
don't think I will
figure it
slow
out in
him
like
down.
10
Yeah,
seconds.
that will not slow him down. He will figure out the best optimized way
Oh,
to kill
yeah.
everybody.
Oh, absolutely. He would look at the little add-ons and just be like, "Well, that works, that works, that works, that works," and he'd figure it out. He's good at stuff like that. He just instantaneously figures out how to play a game and win. So
He's a perfect tinkerer per se.
he
Okay,
is.
but yeah, but okay. Well, I know we don't want to talk about DBD strategies here at this by this time. So let's go to the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic or discussions of the previous week in the world of video games. The topic would or could be a game or something that happened in the gaming industry, and we don't want to talk it amongst ourselves. We want to talk about it with you, the community, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, Kick, what have you, on any live service that is out there. We are on all services. We would love for you to just type it inside the chat, type it anywhere. We would love for you to just put it there. We'll put it in our open discussion as always. So let's get this started. Oh, you know what's funny? I'm sorry. I'm terrible on the chat, picking up on chat. I didn't know Smitty was actually in here. My bad. Yeah, Smitty's out and about, but that's cool. But I'm terrible on the chat. I know. I'm just bad at it. But so let's get the party started. I'm gonna start this off here myself. Okay, so as we've been talking a lot, or I've been talking a lot of about Blizzard as of late, and I don't like kicking a dead horse, but it's just it's hard not to describe the disappointment that Blizzard's always been consistently giving out, these several months out there. And this one, it just really still just irks me even more, especially what they're doing to do it. And don't get me wrong, I understand Blizzard's a company. So obviously what they're doing is that they're wanting to get as much money as they can for these IPs that they're giving out as well. But I just feel like there's a way of you doing it to not make you look like that you're just milking as much as you can milk, as much as you can milk out in one certain IP. And I feel like I feel like Overwatch 2 is one of the worst ways it was implemented, that was implemented out. The way it was, they weren't transparent about it. The way they basically lied to their community about it, and yet still through all of that, they are still just pounding that this community. It's just it just irks me. So we already knew about what happened with Overwatch 2, about that they said that their story mode that they were originally going to be releasing was not going to be what was promised, because the original story of Overwatch 2 was going to be very invasive. There was a lot of cool stuff, like new features. There was going to be a talent tree, all these different kinds of stuff that you were going to be able to do to change with your characters and stuff, to play online with your friends. Just the real cool, awesome thing. Basically, the reason why it was called Overwatch 2 was going to be this quote unquote story mode that they were selling everybody. Then about a month in May, or I believe in May, they announced that that there's no way for them to be able to release the story that they promised, but yet they moved everybody anyways to Overwatch 2, openly knowing that the story that they promised was not accessible or obtainable in any way. So I'm assuming everyone was pissed about that. I mean, I would have been pissed and stuff. So the only game that we've gotten as an Overwatch player now is that we lost loot crates, and now we have a whole new season pass system, as well as a store where you could purchase microtransactions and stuff for it. So that was so people are pissed about that, as well as they should be. I think that was a really douchey thing to do. Now what they're saying, so the story mode that was promised, that was supposed to be that they said that was now canned, but they were going to be doing limited stories, like like limited story briefings or whatever, so small little micro stories within the game itself, is now is coming soon. It's going to be, they said they were going to, their plan to implement it was going to be, I believe, season 6 of Overwatch 2, which is fairly soon. So, but they've, I believe earlier this week, they showed off and they said that Overwatch 2 story missions will cost $15 for you to gain that accessibility to get into the story mission. Now, at first I was thinking $15 of these extra missions per mission, like every time when one comes out that you have to pay for another one and stuff. It's like, nope, they're just they did clarify it that they're charging, it's a one-time fee of $15 to get permanent access, what Blizzard is claiming, for it. So for $15 you'll be able to get just have that, as well as, I believe it was, you get Sojourn as a hero if you don't already have her as a character, as an available character. So that's for $15. Now, if you want the limited edition, it's called the Ultimate Invasion Bundle. It's going to cost $40, which includes the Null Sector Premium Battle Pass, which is the battle pass that's going to be happening during that time. The additional 1,000 Overwatch coins for an additional 1,000, so you're going to get 2,000 coins, and 2 additional legendary skins for Cassidy and Kiriko. So I'm just thinking to myself, Are you freaking kidding me? Are you really, really kidding me that you're going to be, that's what you're going to be doing now? Now you're trying to just shine that turd even more shinier, and then trying to convince a pissed off community that you set y'all even set yourselves to be, and then asking them, it's like, hey, we're gonna put a charge on the story, on story missions, the missions that we don't even want, that people really don't even want, and people really really don't even really care because of the huge disappointment of the lie that you gave us earlier. Like, now you're asking us to put in a little more money, just get that $15 just squeezed in amongst all the other extra microtransaction crap. You're not going to give that for free. So I was like, this is unbelievable. And I was kind of wanting to get your take, like, 'cause I know you and Smitty were more of a fan of Overwatch than I ever will be or ever was. So like, I just wanted to see like what your eyes what's going to be for it.
So, okay, people in chat are a little confused. So they did scrap the first player game that was going to be attached to Overwatch. So if you guys don't remember, Fortnite had its own game that you had to pay for, but kind of went along with Fortnite. This is totally different. So if you remember in Overwatch 1, when we would get like those special missions with like the Knolls, and you would work together with a team, that we got for free are essentially then being added to Overwatch 2, but they're behind a paywall. So will we get skins from it? I don't know. I would hope so, since we're spending $15. But like you said, is it going to be $15 per every time they release a group mission like that, or is it going to be just a one-time fee? As you said, they hadn't clarified that, correct?
Oh, actually, no, they did clarify it. They claim, well, okay. I'm saying this because we don't know I don't trust whatever the hell they say, whatever their PR is saying, but they're saying $15 for permanent access. So for $15 for permanent access to Overwatch 2 stories. So right. I don't know what the hell that if they claim that's what they're going to be, but I don't believe them. I mean, you can't believe them. Yeah.
Or like every season, because there's a new grouping of missions that it might tack on more money. I get what you're saying. Yes, Smitty, it was called Save the World for Fortnite. So basically they're doing something similar, but it's not the quality of Save the World, because the quality that they initially told us we were going to get is now null and void. We are not getting that. These are just the story missions. It's BS. It's BS. I stopped playing Overwatch 2. I did play it privately. Like I said, I would never stream it again just because of all of the things that happened within Blizzard. And yes, they fired a bunch of people, but they didn't fire the people that were essentially above
Their fault.
everyone, knowing what was going on. You are then complicit. So I will never play another Activision Blizzard game ever again. If you do, that is your choice. But again, this is insane. This is ridiculous. Like with DBD, I understand that every time we get a new DLC, we're getting a good grouping of items along with that character that can then help other characters as you play. So for instance, let's say you get the shape and it comes with Lori as a survivor. You can then get their perks and unlock them to use them for other characters. That's not what's happening here. No. We're essentially fighting the null sector and things like that. And like, yes, they were fun, but they were free and came along with the game, and we were promised that from the get-go. Now, if they were releasing the initial game that they promised, sure, I'd pay for it. Had there not been so much drama that went in with the company. But no, this is insane. This is ridiculous. So you're going to tell us that what you promised us is totally scrapped. And then on top of that, you're going to charge us for missions that we probably already did, and you're just tweaking them a little bit. No. I'm good. I'm done. Yeah. That's ridiculous. And for the people that do still play Overwatch and they play competitively, I would say a handful of those people may purchase this just to see what it's like. But again, after one season of those extra missions, they could then cancel it, you know? I don't know. The whole thing seems really sketchy. The company is sketchy to me. I don't trust them. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play Overwatch. I don't play Diablo. Like, I'm completely done with that company as a whole. But for the people that aren't, this is just taking more money out of their pocket for something that we were already receiving previously for free. So explain that to me. Like, why would I want to pay for that? You know?
You know, the one thing that really kind of gets to me the most is the fact that I think it's hard to say that when you tell your community, especially your Overwatch community, that you're saying that you didn't have enough people or your crew or your cast or whatever, y'all were too small on trying to do a story mode specifically for the game that you're wanting to put into it, and your main focus of that same said game was going to be the PvP motion of it, because PvP is probably the money, the bread maker of this IP. I just don't. And then when you say that that you made cutbacks of what y'all's plan of story mode has been incredibly downsized, is like, what is the incentive for me to wanting to pay even money on that on a story mission? It's kind of like you're saying, hey, you're playing the main game right now. But then we're giving a side mode that's just that's just a PvE motion. That's not even a full, like, it's not even like a story mode of like hours on end, like 8 or 10 hour deal on it. And then you're just going to, you're going to piece it out as, oh, here's a story mission, invasion. You could do this story for $15. It's like, why the frick would I care? Like, why would I, what was the point of it?
So Smitty in chat is defending it a little bit. He said, no, these are the story missions. What was scrapped was the abilities and the free and the skill tree stuff. It's all new story stuff. It'll be much more expansive than what they have released in the past. And again, that's totally fine. I understand that, but it's not what they originally promised. And then you're going to turn around and charge us more money. You know what I mean? Like,
he's saying, like, he replied back, it's like, I'm not defending it, but I still want the story crap. I don't understand what he was complaining, like, what he means by it, because like, what was promised? Okay, if they were going to charge you $15 from what was promised, that would have been fine. I would totally understand that, because what was promised was a full-fledged PvE experience on top of like, everything else, like, like on top of everything else. Like, for instance, like when you think of a PvE mode, you're thinking like you're thinking of a story campaign of some sort. But this one, like, but instead they're giving you maybe, oh well, I'll call this more like a raid. Like if you're doing a specific raid, either a dungeon raid or a raid in an MMO like WoW or something like that, that it's just a scenario. That's what they're giving you in this for specifically. It's not even much like that kind of deal. Yeah, they're piecing it out like Destiny, exactly like that. And I think the way that they're doing it in this one, in this, feels like it's an uphill justification for anyone to say, I'm gonna put money in on this because I was like, I'm gonna buy, or I want to play Overwatch 2 just for this mode itself. They should, like, especially since they've been lying to us from the start of all of this, they need to start somewhere like with an apology on in the sense of saying, hey, this mode is free for this kind of this kind of people, because we didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice to move. They forced everyone to move to their stupid platform. So like people who paid for Overwatch 1 didn't have a choice into it. We don't worry, we got you. No, this is BS in my opinion. Well,
Smitty's saying, I'm not defending it. Those are the facts. Okay. Great, I understand. It was always going to be paid, though, and they never said how much it would cost. I agree. But we were also told that it would be through the PvE. That's my point. And if it's a AAA game, like if it had cost $60 and it came with the PvE plus the story missions, sure, I'm fine with that. But that's not the case. And he said that it's, I'm actually shocked that they're only saying $15 for lifetime access. I thought it would be like a seasonal or yearly thing.
I feel like they won't. This mode is going to be so poorly managed, in my opinion. Like if this is going to put in my mind, if they're saying that they didn't have enough people to do story missions or story for the story mode that was promised to us, and then they're saying they have a small team for story missions, I'm not putting any faith in what to expect. We're just going to see slight scenarios or whatever. In this, so I wouldn't even hold my breath on what to expect on this one. So that's how I feel.
Yep, it's BS.
I'm not sure that is correct though. I know people who bought Overwatch 2 because they said there will be a story mode included. Blue Spirit. I understand the confusion on this because that's what Lexus was trying to clear up. So yes, there was supposed to be a story mode that was supposed to be included of Overwatch 2. That was the selling point of Overwatch 2 when it was announced back in 2019. So during that time, what was promised back in that time was that there was going to be a huge level of story mode, like PvE like sentiment in Overwatch 2 that was going to show more into the Overwatch universe. But then in that story mode, there was going to be things that were going to allow you to do, like there was talent trees that were going to allow you to do extra boosts and extra things, to probably break your character character and stuff. And then also give you more incentives to be wanting to focus more on the PvE aspect instead of just worrying about just PvP. But then they decided they didn't decide it just recently, but they rather realized that they're saying that there was too much to do with the resources that was allocated to them, and they decided we're going to scale it back, and instead of doing a full PvE story mode, we're going to do story missions to it. And that's what this is going to be. So this is just going to be like, instead of a whole like hours on invasive traversal and stuff like that, or purposely drawn missions and stuff, and long storytelling, they're doing it in small segments, like a small little raid, like in Destiny and stuff. And that's where people are pissed off about it. That's what that means.
Dust has a really good comment. He said, I'm calling it out now. They're going to try and pull a cyberpunk. They'll do 2 seasons of a story mode, then announce a limited run animated series, Overwatch, group up on Netflix, then announce Overwatch 3 in 2025.
Yeah.
That's a good theory. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. Every time I think
Yeah,
of it, it's just I mean, I don't know if Overwatch will ever do right to me anymore. I mean, I don't
yeah.
think it's going to be hard for me to personally like want to watch or anything Overwatch in my personal opinion. But it's
Right.
possible. It's possible. It's still a popular series. Scyther said we paid for Overwatch 1 instead of discontinuing the game to bring out of a new version. They essentially falsely rebranded to end the consumer contracts we had from the first version of the game. It's like redundancy without the jobs actually being gone, just so companies can get more money for rehiring. It's in the way, and that's exactly essentially what they were going to do. And the original plan was Overwatch 1 was not going to be touched. Overwatch 2 was going to be its own separate entity from Overwatch 1. So OW1 players will still have it, and then OW2 was going to be there. But then when they decided to merge it and decided to shut down Overwatch 1 completely, now they forced everyone to Overwatch 2 under the guise of saying, hey, you're going to get a free upgrade if you already paid for the $40 that you paid for Overwatch 1. So don't worry about the paid story mode or whatever. We got you on that or in stuff. Then it's like then that's when that's when the shadiness was happening, because I didn't want to move to Overwatch 2. I personally didn't like. I was expected just to stay in I was content with just staying in Overwatch 1, but
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah,
I agree.
it's like I said, it's just Blizzard now being Blizzard. It's so sad to see this company go down the way they're going. I just don't. I just don't know what's going to happen. They announced Overwatch 3. Overwatch 3 is they add a new setting, new settings mode.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it's going to be. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, man. Unfortunately, Lex.
Yes.
How about you?
It's funny that we talked about people being, they're not being not enough resources for them to create the game. I'm going to talk about a new game, but before I do, there are 2 games that we have to say goodbye to. So Friday the 13th lost their licensing.
What?
We knew this. We knew this about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
They lost their licensing. So if you've purchased the game, it's now on sale. I believe the game will still be on servers, but you can only play with groups of friends. So Friday the 13th is now a bye-bye. But VHS is also going goodbye. So
Really?
I played
Wow.
VHS a few times with Doc and Smitty and a couple other people, and I did enjoy it. I thought that there needed to be some things added to it to make it a little more, how do you say, je ne sais quoi? But yeah, they put out a whole apology basically saying, we have some unfortunate news about the future of our game. After 2 betas and nearly a year in early access, we made the difficult decision to sunset Video Horror Society. We know this game means so much to so many of you, so we want to take a moment to explain our reasoning behind the difficult decision. We are transitioning to peer-to-peer matchmaking, and over the next 3 months, we will be ending live services so that we can focus on other projects. On September 8th, 2023, we will be removing Video Horror Society from Steam and Epic and shutting down the game completely. We really hate goodbyes. Video Horror Society has been an absolute joy for us to work on, and we know you've seen our team's passion in every aspect of this game. Unfortunately, we have not found the commercial success that we need to cover the cost to keep the game running. As part of this process, we are removing all of our DLCs, the Fan Bucks bundles, and Founders Pack from stores. We will be adding Flux purchase options for any teens, monsters, cosmetics, or items that you did not previously have. Existing Fan Bucks balances will still be able to be spent, and we still have a full store rotation of content so you can keep earning and spending your Flux in peer-to-peer games. We are so proud of our game and the talented team has created and the incredible community that we've built around it. We want to thank you all for your support, feedback, GGs, and memes that you've provided on this journey. We are beyond grateful for this kind and inclusive community that has helped us make Video Horror Society into what it is. Thank you, Hellbent Games. And then they did release a code so that you can earn 50,000 in in-game currency to purchase whatever you want.
Wow.
So, sad news. I liked Video Horror Society. I knew it was in beta and early access, and I always meant to go back to it. And I'll be honest, every time I would load up my PC, I would see the logo and think, I should play that today. And then I never did. So I'm sad to hear that it's gone.
Lives. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, the community around it is huge. Anytime I did play it, I had one of like the developers in the chat, like asking how we like it, giving us like little tips and tricks. But yeah, it fizzled out, and I'm so sad about it. I never played VHS. No, you did. You played with me, Smitty. I swear that you did. Because I know Doc played with me too. Am I thinking? Maybe it was a dream. I don't know. I did play Video Horror Society a few times. I know I played with Nightmare, Drago, and my Spoopy crew and Soapy. But yeah, it was just one of those things. And yeah, maybe someone will run it on a private server, kind of like how Friday the 13th is. But yeah, as of September 8th, they're saying the game is completely shut down. So if that was a game that you wanted, by all means, go to Steam, get the game, and then, play along with some friends. But it is only peer-to-peer. So you can't just load into a game and join other people now. No, I didn't. I swear you did. Don't lie to me. But my other topic, and I was going to talk about this last week, but we did run into some timing issues.
Before you go into that one, I was going to say, so like, VHS, VHS never was officially out, right? Like it was
early access.
It was an early access, but then they ended up not coming. They're shutting down the studio. That's why it's not coming out.
They're not shutting down the studio. They're going to work on other projects. I don't know if they're laying people off from the studio and such, but yeah, it's done. So, and I know that they've done a lot of work. It's been one of those kind of like DVD, how they continue to bring teenagers and new monsters out of it. If you don't know the premise of VHS, basically you put this VHS in and it's a monster movie, and the monster comes to life and crawls out of the TV. And so as 14s, you have objectives to do to essentially like do a seance to get it back into the VHS. But the character, the bad guy, who's played by another person in your group, as you require or acquire the things to do the ritual, he has things that he can do to stop and slow you down. So it was a good game. The premise was fantastic. It was DBD like in the 4-person, 5-person scenario, if you're doing more of like a kill your friends. But yeah, it just needed some finessing. That was all. It needed more map options, which we knew were coming, but this whole time it's been in early access, and I just kind of kept waiting and waiting. I'm like, well, when the game's fully released, I'm sure me and my friends will get into it. But we didn't.
I don't know if I like the idea of like how they and then the money and the currency that was inside this game was microtransaction, right?
Correct. So you could earn things as you go. So let's say you went around, and I'm making up numbers here. If you did really good, you could earn 3,000 rubles or whatever. And then you could go to the store and buy your character outfits. You could buy new characters. Some of them were behind a paywall, but if you paid, I think it was like $10, you got the founder pack. So you got all of the monsters and all of the teens that were currently available with their matching outfits, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if I like that. I mean, well, no, don't get me wrong. Okay, so I will say, like, I don't mind paying for a game like this, but but my problem is, I guess my problem is that this game was never really a completed game. The game was the game free? Did you have to buy the game, or were you able to download the game like for free?
I think the game was free, but I remember I
Okay.
downloaded it during the beta.
Uh-huh.
And then I believe I received a message that I could also play during early access. And I watched another streamer that I
That is.
absolutely love. They're a
Uh-huh.
drag queen.
Uh-huh.
They're called Granny. Um, and she loved it. She was playing with the developers, like it was a whole thing, and I would watch for hours. Um,
I mean, it's cool, but I mean,
it
no,
was great.
I think it's a cool situation. But like, I'm like, man, so if
Cool.
people are putting money in on that game, thinking that it's going to come out, and now they're shutting it down because of releasing it, and they got their money from whatever their assumptions were for the early
Right.
access. Because now
Mhm.
they used early access as if they were that the game was going to come out, but now they're shutting it.
Right.
Now they're shutting the game down. And I mean,
Right.
that's kind of douchey in a way, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, that's what I'm not understanding. I guess it's like, and that's kind of one of the things I hate about Steam Early Access. It's
Mhm.
that they could keep a game like that. And maybe, and I'm not saying that I hate VHS or anything in any way. I'm just saying the whole process seems kind of weird. Like, can you imagine if Star Citizen decided to say, okay, we're just gonna stop.
Right.
They got $25 million of people's money, and they're just deciding to say, you know what, we tried. It's been 12
Right.
years. We're done. We're gonna stop. They should at least make some sort of like, kind of like a version.
Incentive.
Well, no, more like a version of the game to be for people that put money in on it, and
Right.
then just say, okay, like, like, I mean, at least, like, for instance, like Friday the 13th, it lost their rights. The reason why they are down, because they have I think it's justifiable, because they lost the rights of Jason.
Right.
But they
And they can't
still,
repurchase.
exactly, but they still allow people to get it internally towards it. What's stopping them to do the same thing for people that put money in on it? That's what I don't that's what I don't understand. Like, you on like, okay, so you're just going to take the people's money and just go. And that was it. You're promising a game is going to come out, and now you're just going to leave. You're going to shut it down completely. It's like, I'm sorry, your developers think I'm awesome at your transparency. The shit's gone, but y'all are basically running with the people's money, assuming that this game is going to come out, and then say you're going to do something else. Like, what the frick is that? It's like, that's kind of messed up. Sorry to burst the bubble there. I didn't mean to be that. I didn't mean to be that guy. I'm sorry. Wait,
Oh,
you're muted.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Yeah.
Scyther said, until it's released, it's not customers, it's investors, which I totally agree with. But here's a good example. I play Labyrinthine. It's still in early access. They don't charge for things. So you get new chapters and you don't have to pay for them. But they do have an option where you can support them. And they recently put out, like, they have some t-shirts and stuff that you can buy off their website, but they put out plushies. The first plushie is of the Wicker Man, and it's adorable. And you can buy those plushies, and that money goes towards, funding all of their games and stuff. Which they could have done for this one, but they didn't. And I think having the plushies and the monsters would have been adorable. But yeah, like you said, it's just, I don't know. Maybe somebody will put it on a server and we can continue to play it. But
yeah, I'm
the
just saying, like,
likelihood of that is,
you're right. Like, what Labyrinthine is doing is fine. The way they're doing it is fine, because the way Labyrinthine is doing it is that it's under early release. Okay, so if early release, and then if the way, I'm sorry, because they're doing its early release. Let me rephrase. They know it's early release. They know this is a beta. They know it's not complete, but everything on it is free. And then anything on the outside, like you're saying, like the plushes and stuff, is going to incentivize people to be, hey, if you give us this money and you get this back, you're getting something back for your money that you're putting into it.
correct.
Then that's awesome. But if a game that is an early release, well, first, if you have to pay for the early release itself, because then certain games games are like that. I know that for a fact.
Labyrinthine, I had to pay like $8 or something.
But then you have a full-on microtransactions like structure built inside that said Steam Early Access.
Right.
Then that's different. I think that's incredibly different to me. And then I already hate incomplete game. I already hate buying a game that's incomplete, or a game that they promise that they're going to complete at the end, because 9 times out of 10 something happens, hiccups or whatever. Yeah, that's why I am so against Kickstarters. Like I don't even deal with any of that. But I mean, I guess that's just the conversation. That's just the old man in me on it itself. If I want to be an investor in it, I would want to get a piece of the pie rather than getting all the extra tchotchkes and stuff like that comes out of the tier list and stuff.
Well, and again, like Labyrinthine, like it wasn't expensive. I want to say it was like $8, but it is essentially a completed game. And if you run into issues, you go on their Discord, you tell them what's happening. For instance, when you go into the main lobby, I could switch, to low settings, and I could change, my gamma and all of that. But then once I would start my own group and invite people in, those settings would change and my OBS would go nuts. So I was having that issue for a while. I emailed them, I let them know what was going on. I showed them photos of, here's where I changed it. And then here I'm in a group and this is what it looks like on my settings end. And they fixed it within 24 hours and they got back to me almost immediately. We're so sorry you're experiencing this. Let us fix it. I haven't had any glitches in the game. They constantly are adding new stuff for holidays. It's been fantastic. I mean, it is a finished game. They just want to add more before they completely release it. And they just added 4 new maps too on top of it.
Yeah. Well, instead, if Labyrinthine, the way Labyrinthine could go wrong on that is if Labyrinthine decided to say, hey, we're going to be shutting down Labyrinthine. We're not going to be releasing it out. And we're closing everything down, and they're not giving you the refund of it or whatever, because the $8 it was initially to do it. I don't think they will ever do that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that because the $8 was to get the access to play the game, and you're incentivizing them to complete it. That's what that was. If they don't complete it, then I think I think it's fair to get the money back in my opinion. I agree. Yeah, but in this case, it's really weird that you put in early access and then you decided, oh, you know what, we're not going to release it.
Well, and with Labyrinthine, honestly, if tomorrow they said no more, that $8 I put in, I got hundreds of hours worth of it, and I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? And constantly the devs are in my chat, like, how are you liking it? Do you like that we changed this, and this? How do you feel? We want your opinion.
We should reach out to the Labyrinthine devs or something and stuff, because that would be a pretty cool one to to casually talk to. Especially you, since you'd have 100 questions, I'm assuming.
Oh, I do. I do. I love the glow sticks. And with every holiday, they add new glow sticks and little outfits that you can get. And it'll mark it with a little blue dot, those old stamps that they used to do back in the olden days with the wax. It'll have a little wax seal on it saying there is a hat or an item in this map that you can get. And it's every holiday they do something different and they add it, and you don't even have to update. It just is in the game. It's fantastic. So they're doing it right. I love it. Sad about VHS, but also not too sad. So I didn't play it enough. I'm sorry. I wish I had.
Blue Spear says, I specifically remember we played a game of Labyrinthine where we were looking for a cosmetic, and the devs of the game gave us little hints on where it can't be. That's hilarious. Yeah. That's awesome.
It wasn't in one of the, because you have little safe houses in the game where the monster can't get you. And we always mark them with little pink glow sticks so we know. And it's great because, again, I'm visually impaired. And so there's not scenes that are too bright and then too dark. I'm having issues with Outlast Trials. But you can mark everything with glow sticks. So my team usually can't see very well without the glow sticks, whereas I can turn my lights off or my flashlight off, and I can just follow the glow sticks forever to find where my team is, or where they marked that there's an item and I somehow got separated. It's fantastic. But yeah, they've come in a few times and are like, it's not in a safe house. Go look for the grave. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Right. All right.
They're very
Okay,
nice.
cool. Very awesome. All right. And why don't you give us the last thing you were going to, the
Yeah,
last thing you were going to
sure.
play?
So there is a new game coming out, and oh man, I hope they don't ruin it.
Mhm.
I believe it is an Xbox game. So Clockwork Revolution made its debut today's at Xbox Game Showcase via trailer that set the stage for its steampunk flavored RPG action. It's a first-person adventure that puts you in control of a woman hailing from a steam-powered Victorian area city of Avalon, who discovers a time machine. Along the revelation, the city and its brutal oppression of the lower class is a result of intricate time manipulation by the villainous Lady Ironwood. To set things right, you have to travel back in moments in the past where your actions will have a butterfly effect on the Avalon's future. Hopping between the past and an ever changing present shows off the game's complexity, choice driven storytelling, and reactive role playing, as you'll meet various versions of characters depending on how you tinker with time. So you could
Mhm.
meet Joe Blow that, runs the bookstore, and then you change something, and then Joe Blow is now a hobo and doesn't have a bookstore, right? So
Yeah.
the game is described as featuring a deep narrative driven world, while the action unfolds in the form of a first person gunplay using steam powered firearms as well as time bending technology, such as reversing the time of flow of objects. Clockwork Revolution is developed by In Exile Entertainment, makers of The Wasteland, A Bard's Tale series, and Coming in Due Time. To Xbox Series XS and PC, it will launch on Game Pass. I'm stoked for this game. I
Mhm.
saw it and immediately thought, oh, Des would love this. Then I watched the commercial for it or the trailer for it, and I thought,
You might like
it's
it.
going on my wish list. And please, for the love of God, Xbox, if it comes out in 30 frames per second, I'm going to break my PC. Stop it. I
Okay,
really hope this game comes out and it's perfect from day one, or else
I
I'm
think
going
it's
to
going to be
lose it.
30 frames. I think it's going to be 30 frames on the console. Oh no, on the console. I think on the
Okay.
PC, I think on the PC might be different.
I hope
Cuz
so.
Because apparently that's their biggest. It seems like that's their big hurdle. Because even they were talking about Starfield's going to be 30 frames per second on
I was
what's called
never
Star
looking
yeah
forward to Starfield. I knew
Starfield
it
was
was
going to
going
be
to
30
suck from
yeah.
day one.
Well, Starfield
Sorry.
was going to be 30 FPS on console, but I don't think it's going to be like that for PC. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that yet, but I do know for a fact it was going to be 30 FPS initially. So I
And fun
think yeah.
fact, that means the game's not ready to be released. End of story. Make us wait. I'm an adult. I am patient sometimes, but usually not, unless it comes to like presents or birthday presents. However, I can't stand when a game comes out and it is not ready. What's the one I'm playing now that Redfall. I love
Mm,
Redfall. Fun fact, it's glitchy AF. I can't
mm,
stand it. And when I turn
mm.
around, I get dizzy. I can only play it for about an hour and then I'm done because afterwards I have to go lay down. It's so infuriating. And then the cutscenes are just photographs.
See, you
That's
know what?
it.
Well, for me personally, so I did watch the Starfield showcase, and the problem I have is what they're selling looks amazing, and it looks like they're ready, and it looks like it looks like they're running on all four gear, like all gears on this. Looks like a great game. I have to admit, I'm interested in wanting to play it. But my
It
problem,
does look great.
yeah, my problem about it is that it's Bethesda. It's like so I know for like just because with just the saying it's from Bethesda Studios makes me not trust that like what I'm seeing. Even it's gameplay showing, it's showing gameplay, it's showing all the stuff, showing the features, showing all the abilities, the bells and whistles, everything looks they're going all in the right place. But the fact that it's a Bethesda game is like okay, it's not going to be ready for day one. Regardless, it
Wait,
doesn't matter.
wait, wait,
It's not
wait.
going to matter what's going to happen on it.
It's from Bethesda. Are you sure? Because
Yeah,
it's from In Exile. Is that? Is that part of Bethesda?
No, Starfield. I'm talking about Starfield, not not
I see what you're
Redfall.
saying.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
when they announced that it was Bethesda, I was like,
yeah.
and not interested. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, but I mean, it's like it's the like it looks like it's a game to standalone game to work to be hyped on, and the full showcase of Xbox on what's coming out, it was a very good showcase. But for me, like I just like that's the one thing I hate. I hate the fact that this game looks awesome. I'm actually hyped to wanting to try it out, but I can't. I can't be like 100% on board of it because where it's coming from, because that's the sad part about it.
Well, and we've always talked about when a new game comes out, like keep your expectations low and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think that's like a rule for life, right? If you don't have expectations, then you're not going to be disappointed. But when
Microsoft really doesn't have a leg
you
to stand on at this point. I mean, all their games
right,
that they've, yeah, I mean, all the games that
right.
it's supposed to
That's
be.
different. Like
Yeah,
I
this
didn't have
is a
expectations
caveat.
for Redfall. I can't even play that game by myself just to like blow off steam. I am murdered
Mm-hmm.
within the first 5 minutes. It's like, wait a minute. You're not giving me the weapons, the bullets, nothing. And then you're having me fight these different vampires who have different powers and I'm screwed.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
have to
Well,
play with at least 3 people, and then even then, it's like,
it's not
what's
fun.
the point?
Yeah,
No, it's
we know that Redfall's not
frustrating.
fun. But as for the other game
It
though
is
that you're,
what it is.
what was the name of the game that you said? What was the name of this game that you were talking about?
Clockwork Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution. Yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
the video of that. How you described it does sound very
I sent you
does
the
sound pretty
trailer for
good.
you to watch on your own,
Uh
because I know we don't have Smitty and all of his fandangleness. But
huh.
if you haven't watched the trailer, please do. It looks fantastic. It kind of
Mm.
reminds me of like Void Train, but
Oh.
in set in a a Victorian era with a town.
Mm.
And it's interesting because they show what happens. They don't show a ton of gameplay, but they show what happens when you go back in time and you change this one little thing. And then she comes back to Avalon and it is just desolate. Like the cute little golden statue it basically has been torn apart because it seems that people are using it as currency to get things to live,
Mm.
right? To
Mm.
just eat and drink. So it's one of those it kind of reminds me of Time Loop, but
Mm.
mixed with Void Train, and then that other game that I've been waiting for forever that I can never think of the name
You
for.
know what this game reminds me of? This looks like
Mhm.
BioShock Infinite.
Kind of.
Like
Kind of, yeah. I
that. I
can see
mean,
that.
how it looks. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Here, I'll put the link in for everybody so that if you guys want to watch it on your own, you can. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I'm a little sad that it's just well, I'm sad, but I also like that it's first person because I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to depend on other people to join to be able to complete certain tasks. But I hope that maybe in the future they'll let you team up with somebody who's also playing and see kind of how that works. Because I think that would be a lot of fun. Dust is going to love this game. He might actually stop playing Diablo to play this.
It's like that crazy.
He,
I'm just
he
kidding.
has bloodshot eyes. They just healed for like 2 weeks. All of the blood vessels in his eyes were just like poof and burst. I'm like, did you get into a fight with the cat? What happened? He's
That's
like, I've been
funny.
playing Diablo.
That sounds about right. Oh
No.
man. Okay, but that is good. Okay. But no. Okay, well no, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll see. Hopefully it does not disappoint. Let's
I
cross our
hope,
fingers.
please
Hello.
don't.
Hello, Matt. How's it going? But
Hello.
all right. And folks, thank you for listening to episode number 178 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next week with some more awesome content as always, with some really cool conversations and stuff. And Smitty hopefully will be back with us. And but if you did miss out on this episode, that is perfectly okay. We will be back on all. We always release it on all podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, so much more. All podcast services out there tomorrow morning. So there is absolutely no reason to miss out on all sexy voices.
You are the real MVP. That's my Smitty.
Yes.
He's here in spirit.
That was spot on. That is how Smitty sounds exactly to a T.
Thank you.
Yeah, so guys, but thank you for stopping by. And always guys, check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. Check out the latest gaming content and other stuff that we like to do each and every week. So once again, this is Davis signing off, and with Lex, y'all take it easy.
Bye.